Hello and welcome to another episode of KerianH's Minecraft Showcases. Ugh, boy, I just drank a bunch of water, so now my stomach's trying to burp it back up. Not cool, not cool. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done one of these, I'll admit. It's probably because of the fact that after doing my lunar class cruiser, I've not really had the oomph to do anything more. I know I said that I was going to do a Chaos Cruiser in the future, but I'll admit, I've tried starting one, and I've not really had the oomph to do it. I guess that it might be just because of the fact that they're built differently than Imperial ships, even though they were once originally Imperial ships. I'm not sure, but I just didn't really feel like building one. It just didn't feel right to me. I mean, sure, they're a lot easier to do, because if you think about it, all that Chaos Cruisers really are just really medieval-looking Star Destroyers. In fact, I can't figure out which came first, the Star Destroyer or the Chaos Cruiser for Battlefield Gothic. But in any case, I just didn't feel the creative jolt when I started building one. Maybe it's because of the fact that I built a smaller one earlier on, like on a Minecraft server. I'm not going to show that to you guys right now because I don't have it anymore. That server's been down for a long time. Project SMP, may rest in peace. This is my first server that I ever did Movecraft on, and I loved it. Anyway, looking at this. Now, in the last showcase, you guys remember me showing this off, my lunar class cruiser. And I'm pretty proud of it. I've did some changes to it since the original showcase. For example, you guys remember correctly, for my younger brother, because he had no idea how these worked, he had suggested that I put another block right here on these cannons for aesthetic appeal. I thought, okay, sounds about right. Turns out that that actually triggered this TNT early, so when I went off and tested it again, my entire left side of my cruiser blew up. And the good thing is that I had an extra one in the I had an extra map save earlier, but it was an earlier save, so some of this extra stuff that I had added to this got wiped. Most of it was detail, so I was pretty upset, but I fixed it and it turned out okay in the end. It wasn't that big of a loss anyway. It was just details on the inside. So anyway, I tried to make this as accurate as possible. I went off. It was so annoying trying to find all the different references and that had all the right angles to reveal the different details and stuff on these models. Because if any of you guys have ever played Battlefield Gothic or have ever looked at the models, you'll know full well that those models are really just a couple of inches in size. They're really small and they're supremely detailed for their size. Kudos to the designers of Games Workshop who did that. But the point is that it's really difficult to build one of these things. And so trying to build a to-scale model, well, I'd say this is probably like a very smaller to-scale model of the original, is difficult to do. I mean, this took me hours to complete. I think I've logged at least 5 hours making this. That is a pretty, well, maybe 3 hours. I'm going to be over-exaggerating, but it's a pretty safe estimation. So, for those of you guys who don't know anything about the Warhammer 40k lore, which I'll never give you about, the Lunar Class Cruiser is one of the many different cruisers that were designed by the Imperium a long time, like, over the course of the 10,000 years that it's been in operation. There have been a lot of changes to the Imperial design since then. For example, the inclusion of a large armored prow that's designed to batter into starships. It's kind of it's the design that they were going for there, and it was one that was only recently done. Most Chaos ships don't really feature that in that armored prow, so they're more designed for long range. Let's see. The bow of the Lunar Class Cruiser contains a very powerful lance battery designed specifically to puncture into targets, and it's basically like what you would expect to find in like some medieval tournament. The only difference is that it is an immense, I think, laser-based weapon. I can't remember. And it's mounted upon certain areas of the ship. Like, for example, the front. I think there's 2 of them back here. I'm not sure really, though, if those 2 are actual lances or not. Sorry about that. That was an interruption there. Where was I? Oh, yeah, that's right. I can't remember if these are lance batteries or not. I'll have to look it up just to make sure. Anyway, for aesthetic design, I went off and put the dispensers here. You guys all know the drill. But yeah, this is basically a lunar class cruiser, and we've pretty much seen the inside, me covering it. This is supposed to be when I do my Space Hulk map, I'm intending on doing it on the what was it called? The Amazo Pack mod. So it's gonna have the airships in it or something like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the airships so they look kind of like Storm Raven gunships or something like that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to accomplish that or not, but the idea is that the hangar bay is supposed to be big enough that a modded vehicle can come through and land right there on that platform. And then there's the core right there. Funny story. Went off and... darn sound effects. Went off and tried to put lava down the middle, and it went off and burnt. You know, I almost lost the whole ship because of that. Just a word of the wise, whenever you're trying to build something that's made of wood, and if you want to add lava in there for aesthetics, make sure it's either far enough away that it's not going to ignite, or that there's like a double layer of protection, like 2 layers of iron blocks, 2 layers of glass blocks, stuff like that. Because otherwise it's going to burn this place to Kingdom Come. So down here, there's the bomb bay, as I had featured earlier. Completely working, as you can see, as you could have seen by the devastation below. Let's go ahead and test that real quick. Works perfectly, just like if you were in the Inquisition or something like that. Well, not really Inquisition, because the Inquisition would have black starships. I don't know how the heck I'm going to make that work out, but that's the point of that. Let's see. Up here, we've got the cruise quarters. Originally, the ships of the Imperium, the Imperial Army and the Imperial Navy were both one and the same. So the Imperial Guard would fly in these giant ships with the Imperial Navy and stuff like that. But when the Horus Heresy happened, heretics would commandeer ships, and then they would be able to invade whole worlds with great ease and have tremendous amounts of firepower. And so, as a result, the Imperial Navy decided, seen as it is a military-based government, decided to completely bureaucratize. I don't know if that's even a word. They just basically screwed up the system, so now only regiments can only get on Imperial transports like freighters. Yeah, there's some real basic details here that you haven't seen yet. There's some paintings. When I get an eventual texture pack set up that'll work with this, those paintings will be themed for the Emperor, stuff like that. More paintings over here, more Kerian stuff. Then there's the prow inside. I made it hollow because I just like the idea of having it hollow so you can just walk through it and have an aesthetic of it. It might change in the future, might not. I don't know. There's guns up here that work. These all have dispensers in them, by the way, and all these dispensers have arrows. Maybe in the future I might add something else to it. Like, for example, if I add a mod, like the guns mod, which I'm definitely going to do for the Space Hulk map, I'll change those guns for actual anti-aircraft guns and stuff like that. Maybe a flamethrower. The cannons all work, which is awesome. They're my pride and joy. Yeah, look at you. Yeah, they all work. You can do a 3-cannon barrage. Launch barrage! Yeah. 3-cannon broadside barrage right there. You can do it more, of course, but I only have 3 cannons on this thing anyway. Yeah, poetic license, people. Poetic license. I'm gonna use that. Over here, we go upstairs, and we've got this nice long hallway here. Normally there'd be stuff on here like a crew, the skull paintings. It takes forever to try and put the right kind of paint up. It drives me insane when that happens. Anyway, the oh god, what was it? Alright. Normally inside of starships there'd be like an apothecary. No, that'd be in the Space Marine. There'd be like a medical bay and stuff like that, and a high chapel. And I couldn't really figure out what I was going to do with that. So instead, what I did was, up here's the bridge. Instead, what I did was decide to to base it off of the off of what I've seen in the Ultramarines movies, and I come up here and there's a reclusium of sorts, kind of enchantment table, yeah. And the idea is that this would be like their equivalent of a chapel, but there's not really a reclusium inside of a, as far as I know, inside of a cruiser of the Imperial Guardsmen. I think that the reclusiums are mostly a Space Marine specific part of the ship. I don't know. I haven't really looked it up into it. I really hope that I can in the future. If they ever make if there's ever a real official Warhammer 40k movie that does that, I will be most grateful. Come up here. There's the throne of the captain there on the bridge. And there's the Imperial Eagle in the back. I need to do an Imperial Aquila, and then some of my future ships. I might do that. And speaking of which, the main reason for this showcase is to show off what I've been working on. I've taken a break from working on my original plans on building stuff just because for Warhammer themed stuff, just because of the fact that I've been doing Ork and have been starting to get fed up with Minecraft in general, because I've been on it forever and ever and ever and ever. And you know, I keep on getting interrupted. It's getting annoying. Anyway, where was I? That's right. But no. What had gotten me back into building it again, working on this stuff again, is that recently the Yogscast, for those of you who have watched them will probably know, they've done Captain Sparkle's Deep Space Turtle Chase adventure map, which I really want to try and do in the future. It looks like a lot of fun. There's a lot of mods involved though, so I really don't think I will have the time to do that. But sometime in the future, I'll try and make time for it. But anyway, the idea is that the Yogscast went off and just finished it recently, and they said it was their best adventure map yet. And since they enjoyed the sci-fi stuff, I thought, you know what? Why not try it myself? I mean, Captain Sparkles had the voxel box to help out with his mods and stuff like that to get his stuff done. Why can't I do it by myself? I can do it perfectly fine. In fact, I probably would succeed. So I'm gonna get back to working on my Space Hulk map, as well as my other maps like the Ghostlands and stuff like that, which you guys have already seen in all the trailers and stuff. And I don't need to get into too much detail on that. Anyway, that's the idea. And so now I'm going to show off what I've been working on next. Now, I know I said I've stopped working on Chaos stuff, but that's because of the fact that at the moment I've not, I've done everything else though with them. I've done all their escorts, I just haven't shown them off yet. So let's go ahead and look at those real quick. Now you all have already seen the Iconoclast destroyers, the light cruiser, I forgot what that was. That's the chassis, the framework for the Chaos Cruiser, by the way, that I'm working on. So what we also have here is we've got, some of you might have seen these or might know what these are. I built these out of netherrack. Part of the reason why I stopped working is because of the fact that for reasons I do not yet know, the MCEdit guys have not updated MCEdit, so I don't know why they haven't updated it yet. Either they've been lazy and that they haven't after Minecraft 1.0 was released and they haven't worked on the coding, or it's the release itself was drove their program back far enough that they had to release it as a new product and they haven't released announcements yet. I have no idea. But anyway, netherrack I cannot actually use as a palette. It comes up as an unknown block, so yeah, it's really annoying. Anyway, this is the Idolator. It's your basic escort ship. I forgot they've got yeah, they've got Bombays, alright. Bombay here, Bombay there, Bombay. I have been going to Bombay. Yeah, this is supposed to be like a skull in the front. I forgot which cruiser this one, which frigate this one was though, but I really enjoyed making it. It actually looks more almost like a light cruiser than a frigate. I'll have to look that up, but yeah, that's the idea. Oh, that's right, that was called the Hellbender, I think. That's this is another one of their destroyers. I still haven't added cannons to any of the escorts yet, but I think that I can get away with it just because of the fact that they're the scale so far is too small for me to actually add a cannon. And if I was to actually make them to scale, it would take forever. And I don't think that even with my skill set in Minecraft, I'd be able to get it done in a timely fashion. I might try it in the future, but I don't have time. Another chaotic reclusium right there. Yeah, so that's the main reason why I haven't done that yet. Also, if I was to ever actually try making something that was literally a kilometer long, if I was to do that in Minecraft terms, this thing would stretch probably from the back end of that idolator all the way to the back end of that lunar-class cruiser. It would take way too long, and I don't think that my save files would be able to be fully equipped for that. People really don't want to have to sit around and look at something that's that detailed anyway, because this is the internet, folks. You guys have time. I mean, you guys need time. The internet's there to be fast. You're not here for the sake of sitting down and enjoying a story. That's what you have books for. Some of you don't even have the luxury of doing that, so you think. Read a book, people, read a book. And so here's what I've really been working on. There's two things here. This one I'm not going to tell you about. For the few of you who have seen the models, you might recognize the shape. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, though. You'll find out soon enough. But this is what I've been working on. You might recognize it a little bit because it uses the same chassis as my lunar-class cruiser, but this is something far older than that. This is a Grand Cruiser. I don't know what kind of cruiser I'm going to call it yet, because I know full well that the way that I've been building it right now, it doesn't look too much like the original Grand Cruisers, like the Vengeance class, the Excelsior-Class, even though it has a lot of the details. But it's getting there. It's getting there. So I might give it my own name, just for the sake of keeping it in context with the story, while at the same time giving it my own little flair. This is a Grand Cruiser. This is the big ancient granddaddy of the modern cruisers for Warhammer. And this is basically, these were made not long after the Horus Heresy came out. The main reason why they're so important is that they were, these were the ships that had the first designs for the standard armored prow to show up, that would be used to ram into other starships. That didn't show up for very pronounced at the time, and so they were very important during their age. Otherwise, they've got a lot of stuff similarly to Chaos cruisers, like the back, for example. It can be seen. You can recognize that style. Like you can, if you look at the back of my Hellbreath painter, you'll see that it's got a very similar body style to this one, and as far as this back is considered. What else? The main thing is, though, is that there are two reasons why this cruiser is not very popular. It's mostly a reserve ship. Almost all of the Grand Cruisers are reserve ships for the Imperial Navy, mostly because the Imperial commanders consider them an old warhorse whose best days were long behind them. And also because of the fact that a lot of Grand Cruisers are stolen by renegade guardsmen and are used in Chaos attacks as pirate ships and stuff like that. They've had a bad reputation in the recent Imperium age. A lot of these cruisers in particular were around when a lot of groups went defunct into Chaos, so that's another reason why they're not very popular. Anyway, if we look inside, this thing actually has working cannons on the inside. My lunar-class cruiser couldn't do that really well towards the front because of the fact that it was too narrow. I wouldn't be able to make proper cannons with good range. So they'd be like about a 5, maybe even a 4 TNT cannon rather than the standard 7, and that wouldn't have the proper range or timer for convenience. It wouldn't have worked out very well in the end. But yeah, this is what you can expect to find on all these. There's a lot of TNT in these. It's all work. I've tested them. I made sure of it. And you can do a powerful barrage and stuff like that. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that maybe sometime in the future, people will want to put these on Warhammer-themed servers, and it would mean that people could have individual starships that they can use for fun. There could be like battle maps that can be reset every now and then. It would be so awesome to see this on a PvP map. That would be great, in my opinion, in Minecraft multiplayer. That would be awesome. So you go down here, it's the same rating right here. This thing has a whole total of 18 cannons on both sides, plus the extra 6 in the back, which gives it a grand total of 24 cannons. Proud of it. There's everything else here is from the standard, the original the original Imperial cruiser, so I won't go into much detail of that, other than the fact that to keep in mind, the back here, there's I've lowered down the number of beds, made it so this could be more like an armory rather than a group of beds and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, where were we? Going back up here. This is all a work in progress, by the way. None of this is done yet. But when it is done, I'll do a full fly-through like I did with the other one. There's the back here. There's the standard Reclusium, but there's also up here the new bridge layout that I've got. There is this extra bit back here. Now check this out. Awesome. I'm really proud of what I did here. I actually thought that, I was actually afraid I wasn't going to get it done right. That I wasn't going to get accurate enough, but now that I did that and I've walked around the inside, it looks really cool. It actually looks cavernous, like a proper Warhammer ship should. That's the thing that I'm afraid of, that I really dislike about the scale that I chose to build these ships, because it means that they are much smaller than they should be. They are not as cavernous as I wanted them to be. And so now this ship has a chance to actually look cavernous and actually feel like it's really big. It's nowhere near big enough for the standards of most Imperial ships, as in like just scale-wise, but it still is big. And I'm enjoying it. Cannot stress how much I enjoy this feeling of walking down into a cavernous, wooden, flammable ship, even though it's really... Well, yeah, you get the picture. The idea is that when this is done, there's going to be an access point to the bridge up here at the main bridge up there. This will be like for, I really don't know what that's for. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, other than that, everything else here is mostly standard. You can walk down here, and then there's probably going to be some more armory stuff, maybe some more crew bays, something along those lines. Something secret up here, maybe spot where some Chaos cultists could have made a secret altar just before they begin their renegade missions and stuff like that, or whatever. And there we go. That's what I've got done so far. When this is done, there's going to be a lot of detail on it, just like I did with the last one. It's going to look as accurate as I can physically possibly make it to the scale. The inside should be detailed, and it'll go with my Space Hulk map, especially with my Space Hulk map. Now, I originally had one set up, but for the moment, the way I designed the Space Hulk, I didn't really plan it exactly. I went off and decided to just go gung-ho and mix everything together. It didn't turn out very well in my opinion, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually plan, and when I build my Space Hulk, I'm going to sever pieces that are going to connect so that they can actually look more like they've merged, rather than literally look like I've compiled the two pieces together and had making what was once something very cavernous look like a tremendous labyrinth of very tiny, very small, hard-to-reach catacombs that make you feel like you've actually just walked not into a starship, but into an actual cave, and you get enough of those in Minecraft already. So yeah. Before we go, there's one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys some entertainment. And here we go. Let's start her up. Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. Works like a dream. I can't wait till I get this set up so there's actually like a ship right alongside it, so that it looks like it actually does a broadside. That'd be so awesome. It's gonna be great when I get that finished. So thank you all for watching. I'm glad you and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to comment. Remember, if you subscribe, I will accept any form of commission. You can send me a YouTube message. I prefer that. Don't add it on the comments. Commissioning about certain ships I should build next. After I get done with this Grand Cruiser, I'm going to try and do an experiment with MCEdit and try to make it themed for Chaos, so it doesn't seem like there's too little people in there than the Chaos side or whatever. And then I'm going to start working on Ork ships, and that'll be my plan. Especially because since this is going to be a Space Hulk map in the future, when I mean, well, not this, but when I make my Space Hulk map, I will have everything I need, everything to make it a perfect Space Hulk, minus Gene Sealers, which is going to drive me insane. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, subscribe if you want to commission me for a ship. I will be able to send those ships to you in the future in some form or another. We'll have to talk it over on the YouTube message. And that's pretty much it. Until next time, me out.